Area 51, where else to start? Now let's head over to the N103 crash site in Alaska, USA. On Saturday 28th of June 1997, the plane was forced into an emergency landing by the River Chandler due to losing two of its engines. All three crewmen survived. Next we have the Tu-154 plane, which crashed at Domodov Airport in Russia on December 4, 2010, after all three of its engines failed. Hundreds of people were injured, but luckily only a few died. The airplane isn't there today, but if you go back in history on Google Earth, you'll see it. Next, on January 29th, 1943, the B-23 Dragon bomber went down at Loon Lake with 8 men on board. It landed on a frozen lake due to a severe storm over Oregon, and while attempting to land at Boise, it ended up putting down on the frozen lake. All 8 men survived. It carried 12 passengers, all of whom survived. Despite crash landing with 880 pounds of bombs on board, the explosives didn't detonate and were removed from the crash site later. This is a place that people now go to get selfies. Now we move down to the Antarctic. On October the 8th, 1970, the military plane attempted 2 landings, the second one fatal for the plane in 0 visibility. All 80 passengers survived. Clearly, the plane didn't. In the crash it lost a tail and a wing. We are now just going to hop across the snow and ice to another crash site at the South Pole. On January the 2nd, 1979, an Aeroflot II-14 suffered engine failure not long after takeoff from the Soviet Antarctic station. Interestingly, this crash site is untouched and the wreckage is still largely intact. There do seem to be a high number of crash sites visible on Google Earth, mainly due to conditions and the difficulties in recovering the planes after the crashes. Next is a crashed C-46 aircraft that was operated by Lam Air. She is called Miss Piggy because she was able to hold so much freight and once did have pigs on board. On November the 13th, 1979, she lost oil pressure in her engine and crashed returning to the airport. Now over to Eritrea. This is a crash from 2009. Visible if you go back in history on Google Maps. It was a plane that was attempting to land. Meanwhile, in Israel, we have the same sort of plane graveyard as they do in the US. Mexico Air stated that flight number 2431 crashed on the 31st of July 2018 shortly after takeoff from Durango Airport, bound for Mexico City. All passengers survived just after the takeoff. If you're a nervous flyer, you'd do well to avoid Luzamba Airport in northern Angola. It's not so much that lots of aircraft crash here, more the fact that they just are left to rot. They never move them, as there are quite a few planes dotted around the airport. Now let's travel up to the Outer Hebrides, northwest UK, where on Friday the 12th of May 1944, this Catalina seaplane crashed when the pilot became disorientated during a night training exercise and the plane impacted the hill. Unfortunately, 3 of the 9 on board died. There was a plaque there now that commemorates it. Meanwhile, in Varendy, Russia, an Anatov AN-24RV crashed because the pilots attempted a VFR approach which was not permitted at this airport. They had mistaken a motorway for the runway, but realised too late, and one wing hit a sandbank before the runway. Unfortunately, 28 people died. This plane wreck is often referred to as Staniel Clay plane wreck, the infamous Staniel Clay plane wreck, which was discovered a day after its crash with illegal drugs packed inside, sits in a shallow part of the sea about 10 miles off the coast of Norman's Clay. It is now a popular diving location too. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more great videos from Film Truths.